Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day as I do, and it's super cool to have you back here on the podcast. If you're new, welcome, because today is a really special episode, because today we're having our first interview here on the podcast, which is super cool. Our guest here today is actually someone I know very well. She is a childcare supervisor for TUI, and she has over 10 years of experience working with children. And this is Katie. And today we are going through her career and deep diver into her career of supervisor. And most importantly, how did she actually manage to get the role and get into the tourism industry that we have here? Hi, Katie, and welcome to the podcast. So how are you today?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
Okay, really nice. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What have you done before this?
Okay, so I'm actually from Newcastle, so that's a little city in England, and I've worked in childcare pretty much all of my life.
Okay.
From being young. So yeah, but so basically I used to go so basically I was in school until I was like 21, just before I was 21.
Right.
And then I decided when I was in university that I wanted to go abroad because I was just sick of studying for that amount of time, to be honest.
Tired of England. No,
yeah.
The cold. I know the cold at home.
It was kind of like, so all my friends from like high school and that were going on like different paths, basically. They were going down different routes and things, and like we saw each other and things, but I just wanted to do something else as well.
Yeah.
They were taking different courses at uni, or they were going like moving away, and I wanted to do the same. And I loved uni, but it was getting a bit repetitive because I've been in education since I was 3 years old.
All right. Yeah.
I wanted something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So you felt like probably many of others listening on this podcast that you wanted to do something new, and people that know already they're in the career of tourism, they know that home is not really for me anymore. I need something new. So you felt a little bit like that yourself then?
Well, I actually loved going on holiday, to be honest. I always liked traveling things. Like I was pretty late to actually go abroad. I think I was 14 when we first went abroad, or maybe 13. So quite late, but I absolutely loved it. And I think pretty much every year since then I tried to get away. I spent all my bursary money on going on a holiday.
Your what?
My bursary money on going
bursary money. Oh, all right.
No, I I made the most of the free library, and spent the rest on going traveling abroad. On holiday.
All right.
Which was an experience. And then after that, I just loved the sun. I loved like being by the sea, and I loved like the way life was overseas. So I really wanted to see how it was for me to go abroad. And it was kind of a personal challenge for me as well, because my friends were like, they thought, oh, she's quite shy, she'll not do anything, like that.
You wanted to prove them wrong a little bit.
I did a little bit of me, but I've always been like that too. So yeah, I just wanted to go away. So yeah, I'd worked with children before, so my parents, basically my mum had experience of childminding, so I was like 10 and I started looking after a little girl who came with my mum, and then all through high school I did placements in schools, and then when I was, I think, just in uni, I did loads of volunteering. So I did placements as well, and then I did volunteering in like a kids club in the UK, but it was like an after school kids club. And then I also did like in the play group as well for a while. That was kind of sad to leave there, but
you liked the place. You felt a little bit. Yeah,
I liked the play group because all the children you get to know them pretty well, and then they were going to like their first school, so it was quite sad to say bye.
Yes,
but
I'm leaving, guys. Good luck.
Yeah, and it was really lovely ladies that worked there too, so I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting that how you came into the childcare, and of course you want to prove your friends wrong there, and tired of living at home. I felt the same. I don't want to be at home, so I just needed something new. And that's how I started. Shout out to the Service and Co Guide School for taking me. That was like one of the best decisions for me, to come out, and it was my way in to the tourism industry. So on that note, then I would like to know, how did you get into the travel industry in that case then?
So basically I'd heard of this website called Season Workers, and at that point I just wanted to go anywhere. So I just...
What is Season Workers?
Season Workers is like an online platform, so you can like apply for jobs abroad. It can be like ski companies, it can be through like childcare companies, like I think it's like Warner Leisure, TUI. It used to be Thomas Cook at the time, like loads of different websites, travel companies, but you go on this website and you can apply through them.
All right,
so it tells you all the available jobs that they have through Season Workers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how you got started then.
Yeah, so I was checking on there quite a lot, to be honest. Refreshing.
Yeah.
And then
Get me something.
I seen like the job with TUI come up. It was for like kids rep or abroad, or childcare host, or whatever you want to call it, but it's usually kids rep. And then so I just went on the website. You know, I had loads of experience with children at this point, so I thought, you know, I'm pretty experienced to go away, and I think it's the best of both worlds because I want to travel and I still really enjoy working with children.
Yeah.
So basically I applied through there. You put like your CV on, and then you go on to, I think it was on a TUI's website, and then I filled in a little questionnaire about myself as well. I think one of the questions was something like, if you were a Disney character, who would you be?
All right.
Yeah. And I said Moana, because at the time I had really black hair.
Yeah. You felt
really
like, okay, I'm connecting.
And I just wanted to escape my hometown. So it was pretty fitting to pick Moana. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And then I think it was a couple of weeks later, I heard about an interview. I actually went up to Scotland for my interview, because it's all basically, the interviews were all in person at this time. So we had like days where you go to different parts of England, or I guess if you're from abroad, you go to local towns or whatever.
All right. Yeah. Of course.
And then, so it was in this hotel, and there was quite a big group of us. And then we had like training. We had to do like I can't really speak too much about the interview because I know it's quite confidential. But we had to do something quite creative. You had to do a bit of acting. You had to basically just sell yourself and work as a team and things like that. And then it came to a point in the day when it was like, you've either going through to the next stage where you have like scenario interviews, or you're gonna get like sent home basically,
like straight away.
Yeah, on the day,
the spot.
Yeah. So that was a bit nerve-wracking, but it was really, really good experience actually. I think it's like kind of a crazy interview, but my best interview as well, because it was so different. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And then I did the interview. I went back home, and then I was in a lecture in uni, and I got this phone call. I literally ran out of my lecture. I ran out of my lecture. I was like, I've got to go. And and then basically I had a phone call. My heart was like, they were like, we've got some news for you. And I was like, it's either going to be, you've got it, you're going to wait, or it's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, you haven't got it. So my heart was like this. And then they were like, oh, you've got it. And then basically I was just like, where am I going? The next thing.
Like the big rock fell down, but at the same time, where am I going? You know?
No, that's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, oh, I can't wait to go. And where am I going to go? Yeah. I think like my friends took it a bit hard, like especially my best friend. She was like, I can't believe you're leaving me. But it's been really nice. And I think it's just like it feels natural now. My family and friends, they know that I go away every so often. So it's kind of nice when we do come back, because then we've got that time just to spend. Yeah. But and then it was a few weeks after I was waiting for my placement, and my first placement was actually in Menorca. So
Menorca was your first season?
Yes.
Okay. And you liked it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really small island, but I think because I wasn't as confident as I was now, it was a great place to like start off. And it was also like somewhere quite familiar. And not that I'd been to Menorca, but I'd been like Mallorca. I loved the Spanish language at this point.
My parents took me to Mallorca all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, when I was a teenager, I went to Mallorca, and I'd been like traveling there. But in Menorca, it was quite like little coves and like really blue waters, and like you know, quite a lot of nature and stuff like that, which I really liked. And the locals were so lovely too. So it felt like a really family place. It was quite quiet, but there was like, I would say it was the perfect place to start like your first season, especially if you were a little bit shy and you want to develop those skills. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just thinking there now for the people listening, maybe they're interested in the childcare. Like, how did you like become supervisor? Was there any tips? How did you do the journey there?
So it's been a bit of a weird journey actually to get here.
Yeah.
It wasn't like straightforward, like not that it can't be straightforward, but it was just with the time over like COVID and stuff like that, things got a little bit crazy.
We had a little bit of pandemic there a while. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it was pretty huge here on planet Earth.
Now exiting.
Exiting.
My next placement is on Mars.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Sorry, sidetracked. Okay. No, so basically I started off, I've got to stop saying basically. Oh, hello. So I started off as a kids rep. I didn't think about being supervisor in my first season. No. My friend and my manager at the time recommended me to do it that year. At the end of the year, that they said, "Oh, have you ever thought about doing it?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll have a think about it." But I was really happy being a kids rep. You know, I had a really good summer, and like I thought, "Oh, maybe it's something I want to do in the future." But then I think I applied to be baby club host at the end, just because I wanted to see how it was, and then
to try something new. Yeah. Not only the child, or like smaller kids, babies and stuff.
We did like basically as a kids rep, we still did sessions where we had little babies come in, and it was really nice to spend time with the parents and the babies. And my friend who was my supervisor then, she was like, "Oh, I think that would be good for you." So I did apply to be baby club host after that. Yeah. And then when it came to 2020, I was going to go away as baby club host. And then, COVID happened. Yeah. And then I was just like to my company, I'll take a kids rep position. I'll take anything. I just love doing the job. Like I want to go back out and do it. So I was back to kids rep. They sent me to Mallorca.
Again?
To Mallorca this time.
Okay.
So, they sent me there. And then I was there for a short amount of time, but it was still it was a nice time still. And I actually got to go around the hotels a little bit then, and then they sent me, basically we had the quarantine rule at that time, so when I came back home I quarantined for 14 days or 15 days, and then I got sent out to Cyprus, so I literally had 2 weeks at home and then went back to Cyprus.
Okay, cool.
And I was a kids rep there. I loved the hotel. It was just like, it was just a little hotel, to be honest, but I really had a nice time. And I was there until the end of the summer. And then last year was, I would say it's the first proper year that we've got back to like full season. Yeah. And then
2021.
Yeah. And then again, I chose to be a baby club host. I was going to have a supervisor interview. But I was just so set on going that I was like, I'll just take the baby club host. I'm going to do it. I'll experience it. It's going to benefit me in the future anyway to have that experience, because then I've covered like all three. Well, we have like concepts, so all different kind of hotels. I would have covered it.
All right. Yeah.
So I did that. Had a most amazing season in Ayia Napa.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I would say, because it's meant to be like a party place.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a little bit, but I think it was a really nice destination.
Yeah.
And I would definitely recommend going there. And then
I like Ayia Napa as well, or Cyprus. Overall, it's a really cool destination. Really so you guys that haven't worked there, or you want to like wish for a destination anytime, then I would totally recommend going Cyprus as well, because it's a really good one, both on Paphos side or on like the Ayia Napa one. Really cool places. Though you will get tired of the drinks eventually. The cocktails in Ayia Napa. Oh. That's good for the 2 or 3 first months, and then you're tired.
Yeah. But then, so last summer, basically going back to being the supervisor, I did some training last summer. My manager put me forward to do my supervisor.
Yep.
Eventually. No, I was meant to do it for a while, like in a while, but last year I got given the chance because they changed the program a little bit, and then I just had to complete some modules and do some like planning schedules, planning team bonding, planning team meetings, things like that, and basically just get some experience in that sense. And then I did all my modules in destination. Then over the winter I did like a little interview with someone who was like head of childcare, and then I got accepted as supervisor, so it was just waiting for my placement after that.
Cool. And so you ended up here in Crete for that supervisor placement then.
Yes,
that's where you've been now, and that's really exciting that you became supervisor, and it feels good, I hope, to be supervisor. Feel like, wow, I've done it, really cool. So for you guys out there, if you are interested in supervisor, Katie knows all of the stuff. We will absolutely link her in the show notes. If you have any questions to Katie, she will be there for you to contact on her social media. And just before we continue, I just want to recommend all of our listeners to join our Facebook community at Ultimate Tour Guide. And there you can find our page. And there you get all the new updates, behind the scene content, engaging content, and even more. And we're actually working on becoming more into it to help you guys personally how to become a holiday rep or start your journey to start working abroad, which is super cool. And then I would just like to continue now with the last question. So if we have someone out there listening and it is interesting or is actually interested to work abroad, how would you recommend those people like to apply to this industry? Because you've been working in it, and especially for childcare, how would you recommend them to do?
Well, like
what do they need?
It just depends really, because there's some roles that you have to be qualified for. For example, if you're from the UK like myself, it's most likely that you need some kind of qualification, because the company that we're with go on like UK standards for the childcare. So you're probably most likely familiar if you work in the UK with like the safeguarding rules and the way like children are cared for and things like that. And it's really beneficial if you have that qualification to come and work for a company abroad, because then you're following the standards. It's quite natural. But if you're from like elsewhere in the world, you don't necessarily need to have a qualification in childcare. All right.
So, it's like EU or what?
Yeah, if you maybe outside of the EU, I guess that you probably do. Yep. But if you're from, for example, from Sweden or from, I don't know, Italy, Spain, anywhere like that, then you don't necessarily need the qualification. Okay. You can, and with the company that we're with now, with TUI, they actually offer you to get qualified.
Okay. So they offer the thing on spot, teaching you. So if you apply for TUI, you get the whole shebang.
It's really amazing actually, because like it's a course that you'd have to pay quite a bit of money for, and you're getting that completely free with the company.
I know in Sweden we have you can educate yourself, of course, like other places, to child caretaker or child take care person. My sister's working in it as well. It's like at least 3 years of education, and it's cool that you can then get educated on spot by TUI themselves. And I do know a few other companies that does this as well when it is about the children, at least. Yeah.
And also the main thing is that you have experience with children. So it's quite nice because TUI and like other companies, it might not be like you have to be like a teacher or something like that. You can have like worked in summer camps before. You could have, I don't know, even just done like loads of babysitting or something like that, as long as you can show that you've got the skills to work with the children and you care about children and you want to develop your skills, I think you're a pretty good match, to be honest.
Cool. So that's really nice that you don't have to have the experience. You can just have, or you need to have some kind of experience maybe, but at least with the education itself, it's many people I know, they're more like, oh shit, I can't do this job if I don't have been working with kids for a long time and stuff like that. As long as you have some experience, you know that you can take care of it, then that's really cool to know.
Well, I think as well with this kind of job, because you are working in tourism as well, it's looking for not just the childcare side of skills, but also customer service and like communication, working in a team, all these kind of things as well. So as long as you can demonstrate all that, then I think you've got a good chance.
Then you're set.
Yeah.
Cool. So everyone that wants to get into the world, well, I would say Katie recommends the world of TUI. And super cool to have someone from there just explaining about their story and also how they became the role they are right now, which is super cool. I just want to recap a little bit about the episode, what we have been talking about. So we talked a little bit about your story. How did you become? She left UK and wanted to prove herself as well a little bit for her friends. And then applied on these websites to find a job. So it doesn't mean that you have to apply, for example, for TUI. It can be anything. And through these websites that is existing right now, you can find something. And it all depends on your education since before. And as I recommend, if you haven't, then I totally recommend to go to a type of guide school or anything, because then you learn everything that you need to before. And it helps out in beforehand, so you are a little bit more ready, so you're not feeling like you're just slung out to the industry. And I would like to reach out to you guys out there as well, that if you know someone working in the tourism industry that would be a great fit for an interview, don't hesitate to send me an email at Kevinhilding.business at gmail.com. I will also put it down in the show notes or the description, just so you guys can also message me through there if there is anything you want to know. And as well, thank you very much for listening, and thank you to Katie that has been here for the interview.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
I'm very happy to have you as my first interview. It's a really cool journey that we are actually growing this podcast that is for all of the industries of tourism. And just to give you listeners one thing is I would like you to subscribe or actually give us a review. And if you do give us a review or anything, we will then shout you out here on the podcast, which is super cool. So if there is anything, just give us a nice review or subscribe if you're watching here on the YouTube version. Otherwise, I would thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And I can't wait to send next episode to you for the next week. And I'm super grateful for all of you listeners out there. Until next time, have a really good day. Thank you. Goodbye. I just wanted to ask you, to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, what do you want to know? Can you give me a bit more information, Kevin? Tell me about yourself. Okay.
Give us your story.
Okay.
Someone is prepared for the interview.